So is everybody set? Okay. Who is the no set? Is it Last Minute FM or what's the name of your station? Oh, Channel 1. You're supposed to be first. Yes. Okay. Channel 1, are you all set? What happened? You're just here. You could even walk. Oh, okay. So in a few minutes, we'll be starting. Well, let's allow our friends to set up. Those of you who are ready, indulge us a few minutes. So, UTV, please, can you hurry up a bit? Fatwas. Good afternoon, friends for the media, for coming at this short notice to be with us. We're most grateful. We're here, or we've called you to address a very important matter for our democracy. Over the weekend, some revelation came out, and we consider that revelation perhaps one of the biggest governance scandal of this Fourth Republic, to do with government machination, engaging in some enterprise with media, civil society organization, security agencies. We find those to be a serious matter that deserves our collective discussion and to discourage the government from proceeding on that tangent. And so we're here this afternoon to address that matter. The person to address us will be our national organizer, but I hear there's some sound issue once that is addressed. Are we good? We're good? Okay. So as soon as our sound issues are addressed, I think that we'll move straight to that matter. It's very important, and I will crave your indulgence, members of the media, because some of your colleagues are supposed to be on or part of this effort, which then weakens our democracy and create a certain appearance of collusion and an attempt to weaken our democracy. So we really want to have this conversation. This is not an NPP conversation. This is a Ghana conversation. This is a democracy conversation. And we think that all of us can approach it dispassionately to ensure that public opinion is not managed, it's not cooked, it's not contrived to create a certain perception out there that everything is nice and cozy when indeed it's not, because somebody is cooking and shaping public opinion. So without any further ado, let me invite, very good, let me invite the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party, the person, Mr. Henry Danabachi, to address us.
Thank you very much, my brother Richard. National officers present. Good morning, distinguished media, members of the press. Good afternoon, yes. Distinguished members of the press, members of the New Patriotic Party, fellow Ghanaians. Today marks 1 year, 2 days since Ghanaians cast their vote on December 7, 2024. We gather here not in celebration, as you can see, a black smoke. Not in celebration, but in profound alarm to expose a brazen and a sustained assault on our democracy. I'm talking about the vicious attack on the will of the people and the shocking perversion of justice. 2 weeks ago, specifically November 24th, 2025, the Tamale High Court delivered a judgment that is nothing short of constitutional abomination. A judgment so flawed, so fundamentally reckless, that it threatens to dismantle the very foundation of our electoral justice in Ghana. Sad. A judgment that unlawfully nullified the Kwandai parliamentary elections and ordered a rerun. This judgment is not merely incorrect, it is catastrophically dangerous. It is a monument of judicial recklessness. It is a spectacular perversion of justice. And if allowed to stand, it will unleash chaos that will consume our democracy. Let me be absolutely clear from the onset that for the New Patriotic Party, we do not have any issues with the judiciary. We respect the judiciary. But respect does not mean cowardly silence when injustice screams from the rooftop. Respect does not demand we meekly accept a verdict that suffocates the law, contemptuously ignore the Constitution, and obscenely reward violence. Ladies and gentlemen, from today, we say enough. From today, we sound the alarm to wake every Ghanaian who cherishes democracy. From today, we declare our fearless resistance to this dangerous precedent. And let me boldly state that the judgment delivered was an unmitigated legal disaster. The judgment is not just flawed, it is jurisprudentially bankrupt. It is a wholesale massacre of our established legal principle. Let me refer you to Section 20 of PNDC Law 284. This requires 3 cumulative elements before an election can be voided. There must be non-compliance with the act or regulation. That non-compliance must mean the election was not conducted in accordance with the principles laid down by law. And lastly, and that the non-compliance must have affected the results of the elections. These are the 3 key elements. The court quoted this very law. It recited the text. And then it committed an act of judicial fraud. It completely abandoned the arithmetic. Consider the following undeniable numbers. Our member of parliament for Kandai won the elections with a decisive margin of 3,734 votes. A decisive margin. Not double the gate, not triple the, these quadruple the gate. 3,734. The petitioners' own evidence when they went to court. In fact, they were challenging just 41 polling stations. And the votes involved in that 41 polling station. .500 votes cannot conceivably overturn a margin of 3,734 votes. No. This is primary school arithmetic. Yet, this judge brazenly voided the entire elections. How? By what calculation? By simply ignoring the affected results requirement. The court leaped recklessly from there were irregularities to void the elections. This is not law. This is not justice. Clearly, this is injustice. Ladies and gentlemen, our elections manual is explicit. Where proving irregularities could not possibly change the result, the elections must stand. The Supreme Court affirmed this in Ennis versus Electoral Commission. An election is not to be invalidated where the outcome manifestly reflects the majority will. The judge discarded these sacred principles. The judge spat on binding precedent. This is judicial vandalism. Now, again, let me refer you to Regulation 48. The judgment declares the petitioner absent from the relocated collation center, a fatal breach of natural justice. But here, the true outrage that exposes this judgment as a sham, the court deliberately, systematically ignored Regulation 48.2 of CI 127. And what does CI 127 say? Let me state the law clearly. Regulation 48.2 states unambiguously that the non-attendance of candidates or agent does not invalidate acts lawfully done by the returning officer. This is what Regulation 48. Yet, the judge had to void entire elections, or the entire elections. Why? Because the candidate wasn't there. The agents were not there. So the judge had to annul the result and call for a rerun. This is black letter law. It exists for a vital reason. But the reason why we have Regulation 48.2 is to prevent a candidate's deliberate absence from becoming a weapon to void elections. The Electoral Commission's witness affirmed this under cross-section. Yet, this judge scandalously ignored it, allowing a general principle to brazenly trump an express statutory provision. this is not interpretation. This is dictatorship from the bench. Clearly, in this case, you could see that the burden of proof was cynically manipulated by this judge. Observe the court's cynical double standards. It refused to find the petitioner led the vandalism that forced the EC to relocate the collation center, claiming there were insufficient evidence. It declared it would not speculate. But then, miraculously, when assessing whether irregularities affected the results, speculation became acceptable. Vague, unsubstantiated assertions were deemed sufficient. The petitioner produced no credible alternative tally. He called no agents from the disputed polling stations. He never demonstrated how the 500 votes could overturn a 3,734 vote lead, almost 4,000. Yet, this judge granted the most drastic relief possible, voiding the entire elections, disenfranchising thousands, and rewarding the petitioner for his evidentiary failure. In many shocking ways, this is perversion of burden of proof. It is a classic case of brazen judicial malpractice. Let us now examine the most consequential failure, its reckless abandonment of the constitutional duty to act proportionally. Section 19, again, let me refer you to Section 19 of the PNDC Law 284, gives the High Court only 3 tightly framed choices: cancel the elections, seat another candidate, or dismiss the petition. This is not arbitrary menu. It is sacred, limited grant of power, because these choices directly touch Article 42, right of every citizen to vote and to be counted, and the court is constitutionally bound by Article 23 and 296 to use that power cautiously, fairly, and in a manner that preserves the voter's real choice whenever the law makes it possible. Ladies and gentlemen, our jurisprudence is unequivocal on how this duty must operate. In Ennis versus Electoral Commission, the court found the returning officer had breached the law. Yet, instead of voiding the entire pool, it used Section 19B to declare the petitioner duly elected, emphasizing that a whole election could not be invalidated if the results still reflect the majority will. This principle was elevated to the highest level in 2013 presidential elections petition. The Supreme Court, adopting the Midhurst versus Lau test, held that proving non-compliance will not justify voiding a pool if the election was really and in substance conducted under the law and result was not and could not reasonably be supposed to have been affected. This is settled doctrine of substantial compliance. Elections are to be upheld where breaches do not overturn the people. The court itself accepted many defects were mere administrative errors, clerical errors, and that could be addressed through scrutiny or recollation under the law. The petitioner's own originally reflected this reality. He sought targeted relief in only 41 polling stations, not a wholesale cancellation of the constituency's choice. The evidence was clear. Every single Form 8A existed. The results was gazetted. The raw materials to ascertain the true will of the people were all present and available. Despite this, the court straight away went to the harshest of the three Section 19 outcomes, a full constituency-wide rerun. Its justification that some collation materials were destroyed. How can this be? The petitioners themselves presented 41 polling stations as dispute. And then the judge said, oh, you brought 41. Don't worry, I'll give you all the 151. How ridiculous. But the judgment provides no convincing reason why the loss of these materials made it possible to reconstruct the lawful majority from the existing Form 8As. It offers no justification for why narrower remedies, a scrutiny, a retabulation, or at most a limited rerun were inadequate or even considered. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the core, unforgivable flaw, where our case law insists on proportionate vote-preserving remedies. This judgment defaults to nuclear relief, where precedent command caution to respect the sovereign will. This court exercised caprice. It did not use Section 19 in the careful constitution-compliant manner. It acted not as a guardian of constitutional rights, but as an agent of their destruction. This is not a lawful judicial order. It is a fatal constitutional dereliction. Put differently, this is not justice. This is judicial brutality against the sovereign will of the people. Now, let me turn your attention to the dangerous, rewarding violence. Now, we arrive at the most outrageous, the most terrifying part of this abomination. It was the violent criminal act of the petitioner's supporters that forced the relocation of the coalition. The petitioner marshaled his supporters to go and destroy electoral materials. They vandalized the center. They destroyed materials. And this created terror. And that is why the Electoral Commission had to relocate the coalition center. And now, the judge declares that because the petitioner was not notified of the new venue, a venue made necessary by his own supporters' violence, the entire elections must be voided. Do you comprehend this perversity? Do you see this catastrophic precedent? There is an ancient, sacred legal principle. An evildoer must not benefit from his evils. The judgment violates that principle entirely. It rewards violence and chaos. The message is chilling. If you are losing an elections, create chaos, create tension, destroy the materials available, then run to the court and claim your rights have been violated. That is what it is. If this stands, it will destroy our democracy. It will turn every elections into battleground. It will make thuggery profitable. This is not law, certainly. This will result in the death of our democracy. We categorically reject this monstrous principle. We call on the appellate courts of this land to uproot this poison before it infects our entire. Let this be heard by all. Our condemnation of this judicial abomination is marked not only by our decisive, unified, and lawful actions. The New Patriotic Party stands as one solid rock behind the Member of Parliament for Pandai, Honorable Martin Nyindam. His fight is our fight. His cause is our cause. And his cause will be the cause of every New Patriotic Party member. With the full authority, resources, and total backing of the entire NPP, Honorable Nyindam has taken the following immediate and formidable legal actions. One, first, he has filed a stay of execution against the orders of this bogus judgment, halting any illegitimate rerun in its tracks. Number two, he has filed a powerful notice of appeal to the Court of Appeal, respectfully praying to the total overturn of this legal travesty. And third, recognizing the grave constitutional injury inflicted, he has initiated an application of certiorari at the Supreme Court, respectfully calling on the highest court of the land to quash this perverse judgment and restore constitutional order. We are deploying the full force of our legal arsenal within the framework of our law. Our weapons are the Constitution, precedents, and an unshakable commitment to justice. To the resilient people of Pandai, Honorable Martin Nyindam and your people, we send this message directly to you. We see you clearly expressed will, written in the indelible ink of 3,732. We hear your sovereign voice, which this judgment tried to silence. Do not lose heart. The New Patriotic Party has not abandoned you. We have not retreated. We are with you completely and unfadingly. We will walk every step of this legal journey with you. We will fight in every court at every hour, with every resource at our command, to defend the mandate of the mandate you freely gave. Your victory was legitimate. Your choice was just. And we will not rest until the choice is vindicated and your rightful member of parliament thought. This is our sacred pledge. Now, there's a sinister and a calculated agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, this catastrophic judgment did not happen in isolation. It is part of a deliberate pattern. It is a thread in a sinister, calculated agenda by the NDC and President Mahama to use captured state institutions to silence the opposition, suppress dissenting views, and hold Ghana's democracy hostage. Look at the fact. Since assuming power, the NDC has waged relentless assault on democratic norms. The unlawful removal of the Chief Justice. In Ablekumanov, we witnessed the criminal annexation of our seat, a daylight robbery, state-sponsored thuggery, marred the partial rerun. Our stalwart, including Honorable Howard Kumsin and the Deputy National Organizer, Chris Lloyd, were beaten. They were harassed. The perpetrators received a mere court fine. We chose peace and stability and did not escalate. In Akwatia, votes were bought openly, shamelessly, and systematically. And let us never forget the vice chairman of the NDC, Sofo Avoka, and that of an NDC communicator, their chilling threat to eliminate the minority leader, my good self, and Honorable Anodompre, a reckless incitement still unanswered for in our courts. And this assault is not confined to our courtroom. We will see it now in even in the House of Parliament, that is a chamber, the People's House. We see the machinations to harass and intimidate members of the New Patriotic Party, to suppress their voices through a dishonest and autocratic misuse of rules of procedure, a clear breach of both the spirit and letter of the Constitution of Ghana. We know they have made our courageous minority leader and some party stalwarts their target, seeking to silence the most powerful voices in the New Patriotic Party that holds government to account. But let this warning echo through the corridors of Parliament, that we in the New Patriotic Party will not allow their evil plot to succeed in any way. We will have our say in that house. We will oppose their fraud, their corruption, their abuse of power, and with relentless clarity. We will use every legitimate tool within parliamentary practice to ensure that the voice of the people, as represented by their elected members, is never stifled by the tenery of the majority. Attempting to mute the minority is an attack on democracy itself, and we shall resist it outrightly. But the NDC must never mistake our commitment to peace for weakness. They must never confuse our restraint for surrender. Now, they bring their outrageous Kandai judgment. Now they threatened a showdown. Now they have the audacity to argue our lawfully elected candidate should not sit in parliament. This is not democracy. This is dictatorship, masquerading as law. The NPP puts the NDC on firm notice. We will not stand idle while you destroy our institutions. We will not be silent while you pervert justice. We will not allow you to criminally annex seats you could not win at the ballot box. And even the NDC schemes to enrich itself, governance, to entrench itself, governance collapses. Our senior high school students have started failing at record rates. Their futures are in jeopardy, and there is no plan. Gold Board and others sponsor the destruction of our water bodies through Galamsey. Our rivers die, our forests vanish, and state institutions look away. 1 million tons of local rice rot whilst farmers weep. Insecurity rises. Ghanaians no longer feel safe in their own country. Electricity tariffs increased 3 times this year. Water up. This is not governance. 24-hour economy in shambles. This is catastrophic failure on an epic scale. This is not the Ghana we handed over to the NDC. Our unshakable commitment. Let me state clearly that we stand. The NPP is committed to constitutionalism, the rule of law, and responsible opposition. We reject violence, but commitment does not make us dormant. Constitutionalism does not mean accepting lawlessness from those in power. The rule of law applies to all, including government, judges, and the president. We have been patient. We have been restrained. We have prioritized peace, but our patience has limits. If the NDC continues on this path of institutional capture and democratic subversion, they will find a different NPP, a party ready to defend democracy with every lawful tool at its disposal. To the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court, the Kandai judgment is fundamentally and catastrophically flawed. It misapplies the law, ignores regulation, manipulates evidence and abandons proportionality, and rewards violence. These are not minor errors. These are defects that strike the heart of electoral. We respectfully urge you to set this dangerous judgment aside. Restore the mandate of the people of Pandai that Pandai overwhelmingly gave. Uproot this vicious precedent. To President Mahama and the NDC, we see what you are doing. Every scheme, every plot. We will not be silent. We will not surrender. To the media, the people of Ghana, stay vigilant. Your democracy is under severe attack and threat. Speak up. Stand up. Do not let this country slip back into authoritarian rule. To our members and supporters, stay strong. Stay peaceful. Stay ready. The fight for Ghana's democracy is not over. It has just begun and shall win. And again, this same matter, how the state plan to capture. The New Patriotic Party has taken serious note on a grave disclosure made on Joy FM's Newsfile program on 6th December 2025. These revelations cut to the heart of Ghana's democratic order, and raise urgent questions about coordinated interactions occurring under the guise of institutional independence. During a live panel discussion on Joy News Newsfile program, Saturday, December 6th, the Director of Communication Strategy and Research at the Office of Special Prosecutor revealed the existence of a government-sponsored WhatsApp group that includes officers of the OSP, security institutions, representations from the Supreme Court, hand-picked journalists, and civil society organization leaders. The shocking disclosure was confirmed by the host of the show, Mr. Samson Ladi, who named Yoko, the Ghana Police Service, Church, and the OSP, and also representatives from the Supreme Court, judges, as some of the members on what, in our view, the cabal. When Mr. Ayene, who is presumed to be independent host of Newsfile, explained that the government set up the WhatsApp group because we have been given work to do. What kind of work? We have been given, the government has given this group work to do. He exposed the rotten core. This is yet another irrefutable proof of President Mahama's and the NDC's blueprint for an elective dictatorship. What has been exposed by element of this dark governance is the secret government-run virtual meeting place created by the office of the president to ensnare our nation's most critical independent voices and institutions. Supreme Court judges, special prosecutor, investigative agencies, and hand-picked journalists are all on the take and on the same page, a page written and controlled by the NDC. This is not about fighting corruption. It is about muzzling the fighters of corruption. It is about fighting the fight against corruption. It is about corrupting anti-corruption institutions. The scheme is now clear. Criminalize the opposition in the false name of anti-corruption for partisan gains. 2, compromise and muzzle every watchdog, CSOs, judges, journalists, unions, clergy, from seeing, hearing, and speaking evil against government. Ghanaians need to know, are journalists and CSOs leaders being paid for this conspiratorial service? And if so, are they paid with public funds? They must come clean on the job they have been tasked to perform. These are legitimate questions Ghanaians are asking. A democracy cannot function when security agencies, anti-corruption bodies, and elements of the judiciary engage in secret collaboration and in conspiracy with selected media and civil society actors. Such a dark and crooked enterprise neutralizes transparency, weakens accountability, and risks turning independent state institutions into instruments of coordinated partisan control. If these disclosures are accurate, and the evidence presented thus far suggests that they are, then Ghana faces one of the most serious institutional challenges the independence of the OSP is fundamentally compromised if senior staff of the office participate in coordinated and secret forums and platforms to conspire with journalists and CSOs. 2, Yoko and police officers sharing information outside official channel may breach professional ethics and legal obligations. 3, judges appearing in informal networks with activists, media actors, security agencies, investigators, and prosecutors risk undermining confidence in judicial impartiality. These are not features of a healthy constitutional system. The NPP therefore calls for the following action: a full public explanation from the OSP and other institutions regarding the purpose, membership, and operations of this secret WhatsApp platform. A parliamentary inquiry into this matter with all relevant individuals and institutions called to explain their roles in the nature of this group activities. 3, an audit, where necessary, to determine whether confidential material has been shared outside authorized channels. 4, administrative, professional, or legal action where any breaches of protocol are confirmed. And 5, full transparency from any CSO leaders and journalists who are participants on this secret government WhatsApp group. These developments reinforce long-standing concerns that some influential voices in the media and civil society are not operating with the independence expected of them. When actors who shape public opinion coordinate secret and with state institutions, confidence in oversight, fairness, accountability are sacrificed. Democracy suffers. The NPP remains committed to defending the integrity of Ghana's democratic institutions. That commitments require preventing any informal networks, whether within politics, civil society, or the media, from compromising our institutional neutrality and influencing decision, including investigative, prosecutorial, and judicial decisions outside established channels. We therefore urge Ghanaians to demand clarity and insist on full disclosure about the mission and motive of this secret government whom civil society underground group. We must insist on transparency because the future of our democracy depends on this. In conclusion, the people of Kwandai voted freely. They chose their member of parliament by crushing margin of 3,734 votes. The vote is sacred. The voice is sovereign. A flawed judgment cannot silence it. A captured judiciary cannot overturn it. Violence cannot be rewarded. Thuggery cannot triumph. The New Patriotic Party stands today as a fierce defender of the vote, the voice, and Ghanaians. We will pursue lawful means to abort this travesty. We will fight. We will protect this constitution. We will never surrender. We will never give up on Ghana. God bless the New Patriotic Party. God bless our beloved Ghana. And may God defend our democracy against all. Thank you very much. Minuanom adofo media for yeshemu ha. Enema mienu na yede frɛ mu ma mo hwɛ me a tuntum sanse ni braba. Ghana for koto aba, Ghana for kasae. Yede tumi ehye President Mahama ene NDC phone. Na saa tumi a yede ma omo na ekame akoye so mpeso omo fa Ghana for no mum. Afinie a Ghana for de tumi ehye wonsa. Ne nka ye pa hu ni impuntuo. Ne ye pa hu ni ebosha omo hye Ghana for 24-hour economy kebe ye yie na ye adwuma enei eni ho. Ne Ghana for epe ene ahoto. Ene nkane abo ya tutum. Ene insuo bo ya tutum. Ene se meka sei galamsei ye tuwa ma ya sei ye bibia ene aginsemu aye tantantan. NDC for the gold board aba eno ena ema galamsey no kwa edi enya chance omoto eye gold ifi galamsey for you intene NDC executives nyina no aginsem e wo kwaye mu sey ya kwaye ne yensuo ba bia obefa bia NDC executives esey yewura President Mahama ehye bo se bebo ye kwaye hu ban ene ehwe ne yesi na emom ne aban na adwen ne se obeka obi akasa boa ahye ne yam ne enye omo dia no omo pese omo fa ekwan boni bi so na ebedi wonsa ye beka ya yenim kwan a ye de Chief Justice afaso ewiase afa na nyina Commonwealth kwa kaseti ai ene yeyi ye maame afiri so enche mo hu a omo asa sponsor eye petition bia ye pese edi yi Electoral Commission ene chidifo nano yakoda ne sore ya Kwandai Honorable Matthew Nyindam wadi nkunim enye manu mienu ne miensa ne nan ne oha ne ahanu bi no didi nkunim o empem miensa achirei ahanson ene aduasa nan 3,734 votes no didi nkunim NDC for tabri asemi di court omo de court no omo ankasa omo num asem omo de call omo say 41 out of the over 150 polling stations no and omo ho asem ka. In fact omo adanse ni a omo de ne kogina adaka mu kura no ono kura ne ka say aba omo ka ho asem nyina no be 500 votes anuanom ne adofo amahyiam esi there na 500 votes na e fa 41 polling stations woni ntino jaja otena adwom e wo Tamale enam kwati kwan so echinchim ye mmara no esi ye mmara ne tirase na osi wetwa abato a yeto ye ne nyinaa mu asefem Ghana mmara no eda adi pefe se ansa na ubetwa eye abato bi mu no yedi kan also kire mu se enema bi kɔɔso a etietia mmara na saa nneɛma na ɛkɔɔso a etietia mmara no saa nneɛma na ɛwɔ nsunsuanso a abatoɔ no ɛyɛ ne epie firi mu no ebetumi adane ani yɛwura honorable Martin Yindam ewini abai 3,734 ɔmo de ɔmo asɛm kɔɔ court ni sɛ oh aba no 500 pɛ ɛna ɛho wɔ kyim esi den na court ɔtena adwam no etimi twa ɛyɛ abato a yɛkoto wɔ yɛ kpandae tinyinam emu ɔwerɛm empo wotie nsɛm a ɔfa so a ɔso ɔde atwam na ɔsi oh na parliamentary candidate no ɔno a ɛni coalition center parliamentary candidate yi so ɔno hu sɛ ɔdi ntwo no ɛna ɔso a ne manfoɔ ɛna ɔmkɔ yɛ tutrasɛm ɛwɔ baabi a na ɔmo yɛ coalition no ɛkɔ sɛe nneɛma ɛpaapae nneɛma ballot box yi ɔmo hye no afei na ama ɛhɔ koraa yɛ hu ɛno ne nam so ɛma electoral commission ka sɛ saa na ɛteɛ deɛ a ɛne aba no ɔwɔ sɛ ɔmo de kɔ baabi foforɔ na ɔmo de kɔ tamale so ɔmo kɔ kenka judge sɛ san sɛ ɛyɛ petitioner no anaasɛ NDC ɔmo candidate ni honti no otwam emra no so nkyerɛ saa emra ne sɛ ɛyɛ returning officer ɔyɛ n'adwuma yie no na mmara kwan so na empo wɔn a ɔmo si akan no koraa no ɔmo ni hɔ anaasɛ ɔmo namusi ni bi ni hɔ no mo a yɛtoa so ɛkenkan aba no ɛde tudwa ɛma ne yɛ yie judge was ti emra ɛyɛ ama nneɛma bi ayɛ hu na no mebɛka ya yɛkɔ Abdulkumanov electoral commission from January ɛka ya sɛ ehu hia sɛ ɛbɛkɔ akɔtɔ ɔba no foforɔ biara san sɛ ɛyɛ polling station kakra bi na ɔsi ɛyɛ ho collation na ɛno ano ma declare ɔmo kɔ parliament kɔ ka asɛm yi yɛbɛhu ane sɛ afei akyire ehunahuna bi akɔ bɛɛ so wɔ baabi ɛso ni afei deɛ yɛn kɔnkɔtɔ ɔba no ɛwɔ 19 polling stations ɛwɔ yene asɛm abusua ne yɛbɛsrɛ yɛwura president Muhammad ne sɛ Ghana for de tumi ahyɛ ne nsɛm Ghana for antɔn Ghana amfa ama NDC ɛne his excellency the president yɛantɔn Ghana amfa ama ɔmo Ghana ɛnyɛ ɔmo agyapadeɛ yɛde Ghana hyɛ wɔn nsa a wonam mmara kwan so ɛna ɛyɛ wo nneɛma na wei deɛ kamea kwan sɛ yɛpɛ sɛ yɛde ehu yɛpɛ sɛ yɛkyekyere nnipa binom nsa gu ɔmo akyi wɔn a ɔmo kasa tia aban korampo no yɛpɛ sɛ yɛka ɔmo kasa boa ɛde hyɛ ɔmo yam ɛkɔ so nie ɛnɛ ehu a aba bɛtɔ judiciary so mesrɛ judiciary foɔ Ghana foɔ nyinaa taa mo akyi mo obi amfa ehu ntam so ɛnɛ wokɔ court a judge koraa timi ekoti animal farm part of the ruling ɛkɔfa Idi Amin ɛbɛm how ehu aba bɛtɔ a judges foɔ ni mesrɛ yɛbɛsrɛ court of appeal sɛ mmara na ɛyɛ high court judge or tamale osi ni trust no mesrɛ ɔmo ma atenten yɛ ɛnyɛ adwuma ebiem yɛsa wɔ asɛm no bia yɛsa de kɔ akɔto ɛyɛ supreme court anim yɛsrɛ supreme court mo a mo nsɛm a mo kan yɛ ɛwɔ mmara bebree abɛsi atwam Enus versus the Electoral Commission ya yɛ nsɛm a mo bɛka yɛ 2013 presidential petition court ne kan sɛ yɛto abawie na sɛ mentemi ho ase bam biribi antwa yie a ɛwɔ sɛ court ne hwɛ sɛ biribi antwa yie no ɛwɔ nsunsuansoɔ sɛ ɛbɛkɔ atia abatoɔ no ɛma ɛfiri mu baayɛ ana mesrɛ akɔɔtofoɔ nea Ghana ɛkɔ so a nipa bi kyekyere yɛka mi ma menka bi a mamodi hyɛ ɔmo nsɛm ɛyɛ ayɛhu ba awurɛhyɛmu a yɛwɔ ne sɛ the New Patriotic Party yɛn yɛkasa boa yɛntimi nka nhyɛ yɛn mu da mrakwan bia so a ose fa so ne agina brane ne kasam ne dede ne pusu ye ho ne ma Ghana fo ne president Muhammad hu say sebia nyaado sebia kronto yanton Ghana amfa amomo ye de Ghana hye sa omon dadan ni emfie na yeji na Ghana fo na sa akwa kire nia yemfa Ghana nsanhye ne nsebiem afi ba ko ni aban yin kire ya ade potin pa watimi aye anado dan kwa kufu ado ba first year no di free SHS ba aye abayi enyama na da na no ano ka 24 hour economy enei wo ka kire NDC ni kwa no no kura dwane mo kura afiri ho mesrese eno ne ade a ye wura mahama enhwe na ekwanya ye fa so a ye pese ye si emre trase emma nka be mu ye ka hye ene atentene nso no asa ye chia no besre Ghana fo nyina na no enche bia Joy FM for news file a omuyi na OSP abrante ba ko ye adwuma ho same dako ona ye omo in charge of communication is ye di betu dwa se abaya creative platform bia wono a omo ye civil society wo so bi ya selected journalists for bi so wo so bi na ye de OSP num attorney general ye de yoko police aka ho na ne hu ene atemua for judges ayesi omo so WhatsApp platform ni so bi ne hu pa no say judges in so platform yi so bi na ni nyina no ko se aban ena sa niema we nyina no nsa hya ase na sameda ko ne kan news for o ka say it is being sponsored by the government the presidency now sponsors ade we say asemba kwa na ekotia aban yen hwe ne yen kontia ne yen bre ye no ase iti me media for na se obehwa ensem bi hono mapia na se wa hwe omo sanitary parts a omo de bae tan wa be ka te se ne yate sanitary parts so e de aba say 15 cedis wo so kokoto obi na de kokoma asuafo a wo to ne say 45 cedis anya ne kan yo enye obi ne kumantwi mo amon se mo amon document media for you have been quiet because this is serious, this is scandalous. Wo na see ati so nye ne kan yo Ministry of Finance o see ati na epokra o kwa akoto ade kwa na akoto ni bebre saa pardon so mo kwa akoto in excess of million first 6.6 million no moto no uto ni bebre kwa anka ne bo no so ye dey ti ubun konta na sika akọ obi botom sika akọ shenkofo botom aya more than 193 million. How? When you can you, mo budget, mo se mo to ni say. Mo se mo budget no mo to no 40. Mo se ya tiso e dia ba 15. Mo kan wa. Ene when you na kam akwesa ase ye ka Ghana kasa bo. Why? Because you had an overwhelming majority and the parliament overwhelming majority. No pe no mo ye. Ene kuntu na se ne de mraba ne ahye ne ekọ bia ahwe mu enti no omo fa Ghana fo no mum sese be tumi Ghana fo de mo omo no Ghana fo ya fam no mum omo ana kuti asem ye nkoto plane no omo ana kuti a ensem akugye to kan ye ensem a chema mosquito kan ye ensem a samije mfi kan ye se ye hia plane bia empo mi ami nua broja jamfi ene ono ena ye deputy broja ena unzo ni magu ase sema o kekan ya kase nyina ena mu de nyesem kwa koto plane kwa ba ku mu koto mako nko anan am kwa koto so mi mo ya ne de fa ha ne de wura ha misre ye nyina brane yen kasa ntia bone ye koso ye mo mu hu se ya nton Ghana amfa mo Ghana nyoma japade amin shamo meda
party. Please, let's be a bit quiet. I hope the message is clear. I don't know if you have any questions, but my understanding is that the message is clear. If you don't have any question, Yes, I'll just add to our national organizer said, which is very clear. These matters are matters that should occupy your attention. Temptation that I am falling into is to ask you, some of you here and colleagues, whether or not part of that government platform. If indeed you are part of that platform, it explains a lot. Why is it that obvious things that are happening, this whole currency matter that we see, they are officially pumped in dollars, depleting our reserve to strengthen the city, you can't, you know what they have. Is it because some of you are part of the platform why you can't speak? The civil society organization people used to be very forceful. They wanted Galamsey stop. They want this done. They want this. They're quiet. Is it because they are part of the platform? The Pandai issue, already have a ruling that is absurd, ruling that goes against common sense. For some reason, it happened. The national organizer said that some fear has entered into it because some of them are part of the platform. So please, these are matters that bothers on our democracy. Not, as I stated earlier, not an NPP. It is not an NDC, I should say, but to a large extent, it's about our democracy, which is the reason why we should unite in calling on the government and calling on the NDC to desist from trying in ways undermine our democracy. So please, let's not make this a partisan issue. Give it the coverage it deserves. Ask your colleagues when you get back, are they part of that? Why are you not? If you are not? If it's a genuine cause, vote any anti-corruption or anything to advance the cause of journalism, why is every journalist not part of it? Certain select people. What is it they are doing? I want to know. Please ask those questions. Make it appear that you are working for Ghana, not for anybody. That's the only way. Tomorrow you have the opportunity to put cameras, listen, because democracy. If, as defend democracy, this is the occasion, go out there and ask the critical questions. Put pressure on the government. Call the government spokesperson, Minister for Community. Call this government, our brother Felix Kwachofosu. Ask him, what is that platform about? Who created that platform? Are the journalists specifically selected? Not you. Those on there, are they being paid? With what money? And what job are they doing for this country? I understand one person has a question.